how to call in a love in which you feel met on every level. And I know that for a lot of the women clients that I work with, this is a dream. This is the ideal, to find a man who has done all that personal development that you've also done, and to call in a level of love where you feel really seen, really acknowledged, really heard, and accepted on a really, really deep level. And I also know that many people have never experienced a love like this. And it's like this hope and dream and desire that we have, and some sort of like deep inner knowing that it exists, even if you haven't yet experienced it. This was certainly my experience and my story for a really long time, where I was in good relationships for most of my life, but I never felt good enough in those relationships. I never felt fully loved, fully appreciated. And there were always toxic elements to those relationships. A lot of that toxicity actually came from me. I didn't know it at the time that my behavior was toxic, but now where I am, I look back and I'm like, yep, that was a little messy. Obviously doing the best I could in the moment, and creating a lot of chaos in my relationships as a result of that. So my relationships would have a lot of fighting in them, a lot of resentment, a lot of sacrificing things that I didn't really want to sacrifice. But I had this belief that if I didn't do what was required to please my partner, then not just that partner would leave, but that nobody would ever want me, that there would not be a relationship available in which I could just truly be myself. And for so much of my life, I was in those relationships where I was constantly trying to be something, constantly trying to be someone. And that someone was the person that I thought my partner needed. It wasn't me, it wasn't Natalie, it wasn't all of my beautiful uniqueness that I bring, which is quirky and weird and intense and deep and a little bit out there sometimes. Hi everyone who's just joining, welcome. And I was subconsciously holding on to a belief that the parts of me that had been rejected in the past from people, like in school, I was bullied, and, you know, just through life, you just pick up these messages that, oh, that part of you is not very welcome, and, oh, don't be that, and, oh, don't be this, and definitely don't show anyone that side. I'm happy to see that this is resonating. Hello, my love, welcome. And I took on those beliefs and I carried them through. So in a lot of my relationships, I was holding on to these beliefs like, you know, don't be too loud, don't be too needy, don't ask for what you genuinely want because you probably won't get it. Yeah, don't be like too loving, too clinging, don't be too intense. God, goodness me, the amount of times that I was told in my history, like, you're too this, you're too that. Can anyone else resonate with this who's watching? You know, what are the things that you have been told that you are too much of? Because I know that I heard that message so much. Hello to everyone who's hopping on. It's really great to have you here. Yeah, what are the messages that you've received where you were told or given the message or impression that that part of you was too much or not welcome? Because we carry these things through life, and then we end up in relationships where we're not being our true self and we're suppressing who we truly are. Even the clients that I work with who have actually done loads of personal development work, and even me when I've done loads of personal development work, there's still these little pieces these little pieces where that people pleaser shows up, or the fear of shining too bright shows up, like, oh, I need to dim my light because, you know, I don't want people around me to feel uncomfortable, or I don't want somebody else to feel less than because I'm big and bold. Let me know, have you ever, you know, do you recognize this in yourself? Do you ever dim your light or make yourself less than, or yeah, like hide the beautiful qualities within you because maybe you don't realize that they're beautiful? Yeah, I'm hearing, hi Vera, that this resonates for you. Would love to know, you know, who else is it resonating for, what other people are feeling around this. So whilst I never really consciously realized that I thought relationships need to be hard, I never experienced a relationship that wasn't hard. There's always been conflict. There's always been sacrifice on a level that didn't really feel okay, but I felt like I just didn't have a choice. So, you know, I did it because I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be in a relationship like we all do, right? But I harbored resentment. That's how we know. That's how we know, like, if a sacrifice we're making for a relationship feels okay or not. It's, are you harboring resentment around that? Because if you are, that sacrifice isn't okay for you. You're not really on board with this, and you need to look at what's going on there, because something isn't right. So newsflash, in case you're in the same position that I was a few years back, that it is actually possible to have relationships where you don't feel resentment and you don't build up all of this frustration, anger, and unspoken, yeah, like, I can't think of a better word right now other than resentment towards your partner, of all the things that you've sacrificed or all the things that you've done for them that really didn't come from a place of complete pure love within you. And I want you to know that actually this type of love really is available. And I can tell you from my own personal experience of having now finally got into a relationship where that's the case, and have been experiencing this for, yeah, like nearly 3 years now. And it's absolutely incredible. It's blown my mind what is possible when you do the things that I'm going to talk about in today's live stream. I'm going to talk today, like, how do we call in this level of love where we feel really, truly met? And what do we need to do differently from what we're doing right now? So you might not believe that this type of love is possible for you. Maybe you've never seen it modeled for you. Maybe your parents didn't have that. The people that you grew up with in your life didn't have that. Maybe you've never actually seen like a really, truly healthy relationship where communication is loving and open and supportive, and without raised voices, or without slamming doors and walking away, or without things getting swept under the carpet and not spoken and not cleared so that it harbors that resentment. And maybe you've never seen a relationship in which there is free touch and love given openly and generously, from like a real place of just wanting to connect with that other person. And even though I've been in my relationship nearly 3 years, I'd spent the whole weekend with my partner, and then he messaged me literally the next day. This literally just happened this weekend gone. He messaged me the next day because I happened to be in his area. I wasn't planning on seeing him because I was on a super tight deadline, but he said, babe, can you pop in? And I said, is it urgent? Because I've got quite a tight deadline today. He said, no, it's not urgent. I just want to see your face. And I said, have you had like a bad day? Like, is something, you know, did something come up for you and you need support? He's like, no, I'm having a good day. Actually, I just want to see you. And it really struck me that even 3 years into a relationship, that I'm still harboring a teeny little belief that if he's just seen me at the weekend, he won't want to see me the next day, because there's still a part of me that believes that maybe I'm too much. Maybe being around me 24/7 is overwhelming or somehow undesirable. And yeah, like just caught myself with this message where he's like, no, I just want to see you. I know I saw you yesterday and I know we spent the weekend together and I still want to see you. And yeah, like, where are you carrying these beliefs? Let me know, like, do you recognize any of these beliefs in you where, yeah, maybe you've been told you're too much or that some part of you isn't welcome, and maybe you haven't fully let go of that just yet. So I'd love to hear, put it in the comments. I'd love to see what's going on there for you guys. I'm just going to quickly open up my notifications on Facebook because I'm also live on there and I'm just wanting to check. Cool, that's good. Hi, welcome to everyone who's watching. This is the first time I've gone live on my Facebook profile. Actually, it's a little nerve-wracking for me. Oh, okay, I'm gonna have to trust that. So, I'm talking about how do we call in a love in which we feel met on every level. All of you feels welcome, encouraged, nourished, appreciated, because this is truly possible. And so many of us haven't experienced it ever, to the point where you might even be thinking to yourself, no, I don't really think that exists, right? If you catch yourself, are you thinking, I don't really believe this is possible? Either it might be possible for other people, right? But it's not possible for me. Or you just like, oh, that's the fairy tale, that doesn't really exist. Because of course you've done a lot of healing around, you know, we get brought up with this Disney fairy tale. Yeah, too emotional. I've had that one too. Thank you for sharing. What else have you, oh, okay, I'm also just seeing these comments coming through. Beautiful, thank you. Yeah, we're taught to be like mysterious, or, oh yeah, treat them mean, keep them keen, right? There's all of these tricks that people have used in the past when love wasn't so transparent and love wasn't so conscious, and we didn't really have the tools as a society to communicate on a heartfelt level to be truly understood. So there was a lot of manipulation that went on, a lot of, oh, be this and then he'll want you, or do this and then they'll want you. And I'm all about the era of be you, be authentic and true to you, because the more you resonate your own pure vibration of who you are. When I say pure, I don't mean leave anything out. I don't mean that you need to do something to be pure. No, I mean, be your true authentic self, because the more you vibrate out that frequency of exactly who you are, all of you, and that includes maybe some of the parts of you that are not where you want them to be right now, and that's okay. You are lovable as you are right now, even if there's parts of you that you want to evolve and work on going forward, right? That doesn't make you not lovable as you are. It just means that you're someone on a growth path, right? Well, like we all are. So yeah, I lost my thought. I'm going to come back to that. I'm just reading the comments. Oh, that is a really hurtful comment I'm just seeing, not towards me, that your ex-partner shared that you were suffering from a lack of attention. That just, I can imagine if I had received that, that would make me feel really broken. And it also may be true. It also may be true that maybe in your upbringing, you know, there wasn't enough attention, and maybe some parts of you are still really needing that validation and really needing more love and more ability to be seen and heard, because yeah, maybe you didn't grow up in that environment, because not everybody had the privilege of having like a mum and a dad who were completely healed in their trauma and knew exactly how to parent, you know, like, in fact, I don't know anyone that actually had that upbringing. So yeah, so we've all got wounds, right? We've all got things that are imperfect, and you get to be lovable and loved in your imperfection, whilst also recognizing the parts of you that, you know, maybe you want to hold with a bit of tenderness, saying that actually these parts of me hurt easily and I need to be careful and mindful with them. And yeah, and these are areas that maybe going forward I want to invest some healing energy and some healing time and work around that to support that. Yeah, struggling to believe that it's possible, right? Tell me more about that. I'd love to know, like, why are you struggling to believe it's possible? What feels unbelievable for you? And then I'll speak a bit more into that. So yeah, in this live stream, I'm going to be talking about how do you actually call in this level of love? What needs to happen? Hello, welcome to everyone who's joining. And if you're watching me for the first time, hi, it's really nice to meet you. I know I'm going live on a few channels here where I don't normally go live. So yeah, great to connect with everybody today. So let's talk about some of the things that I have done in the past, and I imagine some of you might be doing or have done in the past, that we want to move away from so that we can call in a love in which we feel met on all the levels. So some of the things that you might be doing are staying in a relationship with a partner that you know does not have long-term potential. Hands up if you have ever done that. Settling for what you can get right now because you don't actually truly believe that what you really want is available. I have definitely done this. I have definitely been in relationship with people where they were like, oh yeah, so I'm only in the UK for like 3 months, but then I'm moving to Australia. Do you want to date? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Knowing full well that that actually really wasn't okay for me. Like, I really wanted a forever person. And I even started thinking, well, maybe I'll move to Australia. But realistically, after 3 months, like, no way, that's an insane decision. Like, that's not coming from a healthy place. So yeah, like, are you in relationship with somebody who maybe you want kids and they are a flat no to kids, or vice versa? If you really know, like in your deepest heart, that you want kids and you're not going to be satisfied until you're in a relationship where that is the case, and if you're in a relationship with a partner who is just like categorically no, don't want kids, this is not in my life path, I hate to say it, but you're betraying yourself. I've done it so many times. I really, really get why you're doing it. But on this live stream, I'm here to tell you it's time to walk away from relationships where you know it's not your highest good. This is not the relationship that is going to serve you in the long run. It's time to value yourself enough to believe it is possible and to walk away. All the time you are choosing Mr. Wrong, or if you're of a different gender or different sexual orientation, like Ms. Wrong or X Wrong, the wrong partner, your right partner can't find you. Energetically, you are tied up and consumed with a relationship which is not going to serve your highest good. And so the right partners, the partners who actually could meet you and could be available for that exceptional level of relationship that your heart is longing for, energetically they can't see you because you're all tied up and consumed here, putting all of your energy there. Even if you're kidding yourself and you're like, oh, I'm only half in it. Half in it is not enough. If you're going to call in exceptional love, you need to be completely available, fully open, fully available for your ideal partner to be able to energetically feel you and come towards you and meet you. So do not settle for relationships that are not truly what your heart desires. You are selling yourself short. Other mistakes that I have made in the past, staying in relationships that repeatedly threw me into a trauma pattern. I used to have an anxious attachment style. Actually, I used to think it was anxious attachment. I've recently learned that actually what I've evolved from, I'm now having secure attachment, finally, yay! But what I used to actually have was actually what they call disordered or chaotic attachment. Just the avoidant part of my attachment was a little bit less obvious than the anxious part. But the point being, I used to get really, really anxious when my partner took space, and I used to stay in relationships where partners would abandon me for long periods of time, like days or weeks, and it was excruciating, and it was it was traumatizing. I didn't know it at the time because I'd never had a relationship where that didn't happen. But I can tell you now, if you're watching this, if you are in a relationship that makes you question your worth, makes you question how much he loves you, how much he wants to be with you, makes you question your future together, or just leaves you wondering, is he still in this? Does he really want to be with me? You are probably not in the right connection. You can always DM me and we can chat further about this if you're unsure, but your gut will tell you, right? I wrote a post recently on Instagram that when to stay and when to leave a relationship. And I actually take you through like the formula of what I teach my one-to-one clients and what I use for myself when I was dating and I was trying to navigate healing anxious attachment and avoidant attachment and wanting to like be, should I leave? Should I stay? Should I leave? What I said in that post was, by all means, stay in the not knowing. Like, it's actually really valuable and healing to stay in the not knowing of whether or not something's going to work. But if you do know, if you do actually know in your heart that it's not going to work and you're just kidding yourself, it's time to walk away. It is, don't do yourself the disservice. It is time to walk away. I'm seeing the comments come in. Thank you so much. Please keep commenting. I will come back to them periodically. But yeah, do not stay in a relationship that keeps throwing you back into a trauma pattern. Love yourself enough to find a relationship that will support you to feel safe so that you can heal in safety. Trauma does not heal if the trauma keeps getting exposed over and over again. That is not how trauma heals. It heals within safety. And so either find a one-to-one coaching environment, which is something that I also offer, where you can have that one-to-one safety built between you and a coach or you and a therapist, so that you can heal within that container, which takes out the romantic dynamic and can make it more easy if you're struggling to do that in romantic relationships. Or find a partner who actually meets all of your standards, where have a standard for yourself where actually being thrown into a trauma pattern does not happen in that relationship. So hello, those of you who are joining, and welcome, and thank you for those who are commenting. I'm going to come back to those soon. Okay, next point that I used to do that I'm really encouraging you not to do: dating somebody's potential rather than the reality. Oh my goodness, hand up, who has dated potential instead of reality? So how do you know if you're dating potential rather than reality? So it looks like this. It looks like hoping that one day, he's going to be X, or one day he's going to not do this, or one day he's going to love you or speak to you or show up for you in the way that you really want him to. But you've never actually seen him do that. That is dating his potential. If you've actually seen him be able to do that, but it doesn't happen reliably and often, that might also be dating his potential, but you could always DM me and we could chat about that. But if you've never seen, you know, imagine I dated a beautiful man some years back who, when things got intense between us, we would have the most beautiful connected experiences together and time together, and then he would disappear for days on end. And I really do mean days, like 3, 5, 7 days. I think one point was even about 9 days, and then come back and be like, hi, how you doing? And at that point I was distraught. I was like, I thought you left. I felt so abandoned. And I kept thinking, it's all right. He's at some point he's going to stop doing this, right? At some point he's going to communicate to me and say, hey, I need a bit of space. I'm going to take a few days away. But had I ever seen him do that? No. Had I ever witnessed him do that behavior and actually follow through on the things that he said he was going to do? No. So I was dating his potential. The reality, which I didn't really want to see because I didn't like the reality was that he didn't have the skills or the awareness or whatever it was within him to communicate when he needed to take space and to stay in touch through that period to let me know that, hey, I'm still in this relationship. Hey, I haven't left, I haven't abandoned, I am coming back. He didn't have that skill set or that ability. And I was re-traumatizing myself every time he took space. And I was like, it's fine, I can be with it, like grasping and, you know, full of anxiety, full of trauma, re-traumatizing myself. Eventually I left. Eventually I was like, do you know what? I need a guy that doesn't do this. And do you know what? I found one as well. So, okay, let me catch up on comments. Beautiful. Thank you to everyone who's commenting. If it's something you want to share with me, just drop it in the comments. I love engaging with you all. I love chatting with you. Let's see what's going on here. So, right. So there's one person here that says, I had a really supportive love with great communication and I felt safe and all of me was in it, but I lost it due to life circumstances and I worry I won't find it again. So I hear you. That's really challenging. The way I work, and actually let me come back to this because actually what I'm going to tell you throughout this live stream is going to actually address that, because the way I work with clients, like there is nothing that can't be overcome. There is no circumstance, life circumstance or situation. There was one client that I'm working with who she lives on like this tiny little island and there's hardly any, what in her words, decent men on the island. And I don't see that as a limitation, and any life circumstances, it's all to do with what we believe is possible and what we believe about ourselves and support from the universe. I'll speak more about this as I come through the training. Yeah, feeling not seen and heard, being too much, settling because we didn't really believe that we could find love that was suitable, right? Okay, great. So I'm hearing that there are some healthier journeys that are happening, but lonely. So I'm guessing they're healthier because you're maybe not in, you're not sacrificing yourself. You're not settling in relationships that don't serve, right? So maybe there's a bit of self-dating going on, right? It's okay to be self-dating for a period of time if you're not in a loving connection. Like take yourself out on dates, go do some loving things for yourself, treat yourself as your best partner would do, give yourself that imprint of what this love that welcomes all of you can look like, and you can give that to yourself at the beginning. So welcome, my loves. Yeah, the disappearing and dating the potential. Okay, great. So good to hear that this is resonating. Yeah, welcome everybody. Hello, my loves, all you joining. Okay, so, okay. Do not give up on the dream of love that you want for yourself. Commit to attracting the caliber of love that you desire and commit to seeking the guidance that will take you there, right? This is the biggest act of self-love, of self-worth that you can do for yourself, is to say, this is my dream. I am standing for it no matter what. Even if right now it feels a bit unobtainable or unachievable for X reasons, I am committed to clearing those X reasons out of the way because I love myself and I value myself enough that I want this dream and I'm going to make it happen for myself. And I'm going to talk more about how you can do that. So, some of the things that can keep us stuck. Perhaps you have been accepting too little for too long in relationships, years of not quite finding the one, or years of finding relationships that sort of match, but, you know, where I spoke about before, relationships where you just know that this actually doesn't have long-term potential, you know, there's some deal breaker in there, but you're still trying to make it work, or they're not emotionally mature enough, or they keep abandoning, or they are just not committed to a path of evolution and self-improvement, and you are, and that is going to be a deal breaker. It may not feel like one right now at the beginning of the relationship, but I can promise you 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line, when you have grown and evolved and you've healed so much stuff and your partner is still exactly where they were 10 years ago, that is going to be horrendously incompatible, and it's going to feel deeply unnurturing, unmeeting of all of your parts. So if you are accepting too little and you've been doing it for too long, one of the reasons why you might be doing this is because you're trying to do it all by yourself. You're trying to navigate this journey through just reading books and taking free trainings and Googling on the internet the whole time, but you're not actually out there getting the direct support, which is unique and specific to you. Because there's so much generic support out there, right? You can read so many books, and you can read all of the dating blogs and podcasts and take all of the free trainings, but they are not tailored specific to you and specific to your wounds and your needs and the things that come up for you that are challenging in your relationship. So trying to do it all by yourself is actually what is keeping you stuck. I know, because I used to do it for a really long time. So for the first part of my healing journey, I was in a lot of therapy. I did years, actually, probably about 6 years in total, on and off, of being in one-to-one therapy with like a counselor, a therapist, to work through a lot of my repressed emotions, a lot of anxiety, a lot of anger that I had built up. And yeah, somebody's actually just mentioned this in the comments, setting boundaries was hard. So one of the reasons I had so much anger built up in my system is because I spent my whole life never setting boundaries, because I didn't know that that was something that you could do and still be loved, right? I thought that you had to say yes to everything. If somebody asked something of you, and you liked that person and you wanted to stay in connection with that person, you had to say yes. You had to find a way to make yourself, in my case, I had to find a way to shift myself or accommodate myself or somehow inconvenience myself so that this other person's needs could be met, because then I would be able to continue having a connection with them, and I wanted that. But what I didn't realize was I was making myself smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, till eventually, by the time I actually went to therapy, I was so small, I didn't even know who I was. I'd started therapy at age 28, and I walked into the room and she said something to me like, "What do you like doing?" And I was like, "I don't really know." And we realized through the therapy that I liked hanging out with friends, and I liked hanging out with my boyfriend, and I liked watching certain TV programs. But outside of that very, very narrow scope of things, I had lost myself. I did not know who I was. I did not know what I wanted, or even what my true expression was in life, because I'd made myself so small by constantly trying to accommodate everybody else's needs so that I could try and stay in friendships and relationships. Let me know if you've been there and you've done this too. Beautiful. Yeah, so I didn't know that it was okay to set boundaries. And when we don't set boundaries, we end up really getting angry, because anger is there to tell us, hey, this boundary needs to be set. This boundary got crossed and I need you to do something about it. That's what anger's purpose is. It's actually an informative emotion. It's not a bad emotion like a lot of people label it. It's actually an emotion that's there to tell you, hey, this thing isn't okay for me. And the reason why you're feeling angry right now is because something happened and you need to set a boundary to stop that happening again going forward. So I did loads of therapy for years, and I realized, as I think some of the people in the comments are speaking to as well, thank you for sharing, that I stopped dating people because I realized I was just attracting messed up relationships. Hands up if you've done that, you've stopped dating because you're like, actually, this is just a disaster. Like whatever I attract, whatever I get into, like it's just recreating pain over and over again. I keep recreating my patterns and I feel powerless to do anything about it. So even at a really evolved level of development, this can still happen. Even if you've been on a development path for like 15, 20 years, there can still be some triggers that are so deeply rooted that when they happen, they completely take over your system. And no matter how many conscious tools you've got and how much healing work you've done by yourself, until you actually get into a relationship, a lot of those triggers don't actually come up. And so they can only be healed in relationship. And yeah, anyway, I did a lot of solo work, but this can also keep us stuck because eventually we've got to go back into relationships to test out the waters and see how we can navigate this. Now we've grown and evolved, and now we've learned boundaries and to speak our truth and to ask for our needs to be met and to receive and to trust that another can take care of us and not violate us, and you know, all of those things. And it was at that point, after doing 6 years of therapy, that I finally took the plunge and actually decided to get relationship help. Because up until that point, I had been believing, I was so resistant to getting like a relationship coach or somebody to actually teach me how to do relationships, because I was like, you know, I don't want to seem desperate. Like, surely it's only desperate people that need help with relationships. And I couldn't have been more wrong. I had this belief running that if I needed help with relationships, then I must be really broken, like more broken than I thought. You know, I must be really desperate or really unworthy. And what I found, I went into a group container of women who were also working on their relationship stuff and calling in their ideal partner. And I had this fear that the group was going to be full of desperate people who didn't know how to do relationships and were, yeah, just like, that would confirm my fear that I was somehow really deeply broken or something really deeply wrong with me. But you know what? The complete opposite happened. I went into this group with an incredible mentor that I had back in the day, and the women in this group were amazing, like absolutely incredible. They were high caliber, high achieving women who were out in the world doing incredible things. And they'd done just as much personal development as me, if not more. Some of them were way advanced on the personal development growth journey than me. And it made all my fears about, oh God, like who's going to be in that group? You know, who's going to be in this group of women that are trying to learn how to be in a healthier relationship? I was so surprised, absolutely amazed, to the point I actually stayed in that group for 3 whole years, 3 years, because it was that healing for me to be surrounded by other women who were also on a conscious path, also owning their shadow pieces and healing their inner child and talking openly about their challenges so that we could let go of the shame, being vulnerable and saying, actually, this triggers me and I want to heal it. How do I navigate? Every time he leaves, this is how I feel, or every time he says this, I feel not good enough. And we spoke about these things openly and honestly, and all the shame just fell off. Like, it was the most healing thing in the world. And beyond that, I actually made some of the best friends of my life in that program, in that relationship healing program that I was in for such a long time. I still have these friends in my life today. A number of women that I met in this incredible group are still my friends today, and literally some of my closest friends, because we're on the same path. Like, even now, you know, I left that group, goodness me, I don't know, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, maybe. And yeah, it must be, because we've been friends for like 6 years. So those of you who know who you are, like probably some of you are watching this, my beautiful, beautiful friends who I've known since the group that we joined. All my fears about asking for help and having a mentor or a coach for relationships were completely melted away, completely. There was nothing that was true and founded about any of it. So I realized that for years and years and years, I had actually been starving myself of the love and support that was available in a group mentorship program, and having a relationship coach to actually love me and accept me in the places where nobody else had ever done that. I had not actually been in relationships where people had loved my anger, loved my really insecure parts, loved the parts of me that loud and bubbly and intense and deep. And this group offered me that. My mentors offered me that. And I needed that. And I think we all need that. If we have never had those parts of us loved and accepted, you need to have an imprint of how it is to receive that, so that you know that you're worthy of calling that in a relationship. I think it's pretty much impossible to call in a relationship where all of you is met if you haven't actually felt that ever. You need to put yourself in a space where it's possible to experience that. And something like coming to work with a coach one-to-one with me, or in a group program, which I'm going to tell you about, that I'm going to be offering very, very soon. A group program like that is the place where you're going to get that imprint for the first time about how it is that you can be completely loved and accepted in all of you, so that you can call in a relationship that mirrors that and does exactly the same. There couldn't be anything further from the truth around the beliefs that somehow I was desperate or not good enough for needing that. Because what I actually realized was having that level of support was a huge act of self-love. There couldn't be anything more self-loving than actually valuing my dreams and my desires enough to get the support to make them happen. What I realized was keeping me stuck was that believing, hang on, I wrote this out earlier. Oh yeah, I'll only be good enough if I can achieve this. And this being have a healthy relationship by myself, without support from others, you know, without a coach or without a mentor. I'll only be good enough if I can finally call in a relationship that works. But that actually keeps us in a catch-22, and it's really subtle and unconscious, which means that you never actually get to evolve from that, because you don't ever love yourself enough to get out of that. And loving yourself enough to get out of that is investing in yourself, is getting a mentor or a coach or a group program that allows you to transform and grow beyond that, beyond just one-to-one therapy. One-to-one therapy is great, but it isn't relationship specific. It doesn't mirror for you how it is to be in a romantic connection. It's more of, if anything, like a healthy parental dynamic. So it's great for working on healing some of the mother wounds and the father wounds out there. But it's not ideal for romantic relationships. You really want a love coach or a dating coach or a relationship coach that is focused on that. So yeah, let me come back to some of the questions. Thank you. Please do ask questions or write comments, share with me your experience, what you're noticing. I love that you have been dating yourself. I am celebrating you, taking yourself to places, telling yourself that you love yourself. Actually, you're saying it's still learning the patience, but to be honest, maybe it's this trying to do everything by yourself. And maybe actually your next step is to love yourself enough to invest in having somebody take you to the next level, so that you don't, because the difference is, right? The difference between getting a relationship coach or going into a relationship coaching program and not is you are still going to get there, right? I don't believe for one moment that you need me or you need my services and that you can't do this without me. No way. Like, you're incredible, right? You are absolutely going to do this, whether you do it on your own or with support. The difference is how fast you're going to get there. You can keep battling away at this, living the hyper independent life, which, believe me, when you actually get into relationship is really, really hard to undo. So save yourself the challenge and do not go down the route of being so independent that actually when you get into a relationship, you can't receive and you don't know how to lean on people and trust. Learn that with a coach before you actually get into the relationship, because believe me, it's really, really hard. I've been there. But maybe your growth edge is to actually trust somebody and lean on somebody enough to have them hold your hand and guide you and support you into your forever relationship. I wrote my own list of topics and subjects I wanted to work through to prepare for dating. Yeah, absolutely. I would be more than happy to support you with that. Yeah. So what the question that's in the chat here is, would I take on a client where they're coming to me with a list of things that they want to work on? Absolutely. Yes. And you know, maybe we look at some of those and maybe some of them are actually, maybe you're lovable already in those places, you know, maybe we can sometimes carry beliefs that I'm only lovable when this gets healed, right? I'm only lovable when. And a lot of the work I actually do with my clients is, yes, you might want to evolve this. Yes, you know, maybe this is something that's going to grow over time, but how about you're lovable right now? And how about you're worthy of calling in love right now? But yes, I would absolutely work with somebody who came to me with like a list of things they wanted to work with. So I think that's the end of those comments so far. Let me know if there's any more questions or comments. I'm just reading my notes. I've lost myself slightly. Yeah, I made some of the best friends of my life in that group program, and it was the best decision I ever could have made. I am so grateful to the version of me in the past that decided, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this. Okay, yeah, I am going to jump. I am going to step into this really scary, really unknown, slightly terrifying territory of daring to reveal all of my vulnerable parts to a coach who I've only seen, you know, a few posts on Facebook or Instagram. You know, I've seen a couple of live streams, but really I don't know this person. Like, I had not met this person in reality. I did later, some years down the line, I did later actually meet her in person, and it was beautiful. We went for dinner together and, you know, actually met and hugged, and oh, it was lovely. But at the point of taking her on as my coach, she was just a woman on the internet who seemed to be talking, you know, like a vibe that resonated with me. So it was a huge edge for me to step into a container with her and a whole load of other women who I'd never met. I was like, oh my God, this might be the worst decision I've ever made. But, you know, of course, you can always leave, right? You can always leave. You can always step out and be like, actually, that's not for me. But I didn't. As I said, I actually stayed for 3 whole years in that group because it was so damn good and so healing. And I wouldn't be the woman that I am today, and I wouldn't have the relationship, the incredible man that I'm in relationship now. I don't think it would have been possible without that group. Really, so much happened in that group. And as I say, I've got beautiful, beautiful friends from that group as well that are still in my life today, years later. So let me share with you about my upcoming program, which is launching September. So it's coming soon. It's about 6 weeks away. I don't actually have a final deadline date for it just yet, but it's six weeks away, let's say, approximately. It is called Soul Aligned Love, because I know that that is what you want to call in, right? So what are we going to be doing in Soul Aligned Love? So this is a program for women who are absolutely ready to call in their forever person. Even if you've got bits that you're still working on, we are of course going to be doing healing in the program. It wouldn't be much of a relationship dating program if we weren't doing healing in it. But these are the criteria for coming into the program. So you are a woman and you date men. That's one of the first criteria. You know the type of man that you're looking for. You have a really good idea as to what type of qualities he's going to bring, how he's going to show up in relationship, what type of attachment style he might have, what type of love languages he is going to express his love to you in, how he's going to show up in the bedroom, how he's going to be around your friends and family, how he's going to treat you, how he's going to look after your heart, how he is going to listen to you and be present with you, how he's going to love you on all of the levels. If you know that already, this program is for you. If you don't yet know that, then I'm going to put a link in the chat after the live stream, which I'm just thinking on Instagram is a bit challenging because it takes a while to upload. There will be a link for the waitlist for my standards masterclass. If you do not yet know on a very deep level the vision for the ideal man that you want to call in, then join my waitlist for my standards masterclass. In fact, if you know that you want to do that, drop me a DM and say, please put me on the waitlist for standards masterclass, because I will put a link on the live streams. But it might take a few hours or even a day for that to upload and be available. So drop me a DM if you want to jump on the waitlist for the Standards Masterclass, which will be coming in the next month. But the program, for those of you who already do know about the incredible man that you want to call in and you are ready to do this, this is going to be a group program full of incredible high caliber women, because this is the type of woman just like you that we are calling into this program, who are clear in the man that they want to call in, and they are ready to manifest him and clear out any blocks that are getting in the way of the manifestation. So if you have been trying to call in your ideal man for a number of years and you either keep getting partial matches, as in men that sort of meet your criteria but don't fully, or relationships that only last X number of months before they go south, then this is due to blocks, limiting beliefs that we're going to clear out in soul aligned love. So I'm going to teach you the exact steps to manifest your ideal man, and then we are going to go on a deep dive to clear out any limiting beliefs that have been previously stopping you from calling in this level of love. So if you haven't yet managed to manifest and call in the ideal man that you want, and you do have a really clear vision for what he looks like and how he shows up and how he behaves and is in relationship with you, then I can promise you the reason why this isn't happening is down to limiting beliefs and insecurities, which are causing your vibrational manifestation energy to be off key. It's very easy to fix, and I have some very deep and powerful tools to support you to clear that out. But ultimately, we're going to be going through the steps of manifestation and getting super clear in the man that you want to call in, and then clearing out the limiting beliefs. There's also going to be a practical element to this, because I like to take these things from all angles. So we are going to do practical dating strategy as well. So it's not just going to be an energetic program. It's not just going to be manifestation, and it's not just going to be inner child healing, although there will be a lot of that too. But we are actually going to go through practical dating strategy. We're going to be making professional dating profiles for all of you. We are going to be teaching you how to learn how to decipher precisely who on the dating apps is worth reaching out to, so that you don't waste your valuable time reaching out to men who are not ideal for you. And we're going to teach you how to learn to communicate in a way that opens up conversation quickly and deeply to get to know somebody very efficiently. So within just 5 messages, obviously you won't know them completely, but you will know whether or not they are worth getting to know. I do not want you spending time on dating apps, chatting back and forth for days, weeks, or even months, only to discover that he ghosts you, or that he's not interested in actually meeting up, or that when you meet up, the chemistry is not on point. So the way that I teach the practical strategy of dating, we eliminate all of that. We get within under 5 messages, you will know whether or not he is worth spending time getting to know. And we guide you through a process so that you can easily transition from online dating to in-person dating. And we also include building that dating profile for you, as well as the manifestation, as well as the inner child healing. So this is a 10-week group program starting in September, which means by the time the end of 2023 comes around and the beginning of 2024 comes around, you could very well be in your new forever relationship, and actually going through the festive holidays in December and starting the brand new year with your incredible partner already by your side. So I can't wait to call you. I can't wait to support you in this program and help you call in the love that you've been looking for. This is soul aligned love. It's going to launch officially in 2 weeks, and it will launch, well, the go live price eventually, when we actually, in September, will be £1,222 for the whole 10 weeks. But there will be a early bird rate available in 2 weeks' time that is going to be $888 for the whole 10 weeks. And you get so much value for this, it's unbelievable. But today, if you sign up within the next 48 hours after watching this live stream, you can jump in for the exclusive rate of £777. I like my numbers repetitive. So today you can get this incredible 10-week dating program, Soul Aligned Love, where we're going to be manifesting your ideal partner, getting clear on your standards and clearing out any beliefs that have been blocking you previously from calling in this love, as well as the practical dating strategy to actually help you get into this relationship and actually meet them in person and go through the dating process. This is available for 48 hours only at £777. I can't wait to call you in. How can you sign up? So you can sign up by DMing me. Right now, I don't have the sales page up and ready. That's why you're getting an exclusive rate, because this is the hell yes, jump in now rate. So this is only available by DMing me. There are no links that you can click that will get you this rate. And it is only available for 48 hours after this live stream. So if you know that this is the next step for you, if you know that you've been holding yourself back by trying to do this solo for way too long, and you're ready to love yourself and step into that group container with incredible women where you might actually also make some beautiful friends along the way, then DM me Soul Aligned Love, and I will send you the link to sign up for this exclusive rate of $777 for the next 48 hours.